That's blood lab. Anybody sticking a cotton candy cone up my nose and swirling it for 9 minutes and stabbing my frontal cortex and going, oh, I think we got one.
I had a girlfriend in high school that was like a vampire, so I'll just put her on you. She can drain blood from you and then test it.
That's what I trust Dr.
What's the
her
roll
name?
of the eyes, Abby?
Well, you can't just throw it. I had this girlfriend that was a vampire and then continues.
The
What?
whole point of that was, did you ever in high school have a hickey?
Okay, in the world of sports, it was a wild weekend in the National Football League. Sorry, Abby, I couldn't stop him in time. I could not stop him in time.
I did not even see that one coming.
I did. I saw it coming from the second he said vampires. I went right to the college. Joel think, all right, here's the avenue he's going to go down. We're going to have to salvage it and
There
push
is an
it back.
age difference.
I got to tell you, that was fun.
Yeah, that's it. I had friends that used a vacuum cleaner just to brag that they had a hickey.
It
you
looks
got a
like
girlfriend.
a puffer fish was on their neck.
It's exactly a puffer fish. It's exactly right. In like the 70s and 80s, that was like a mark of something, that you were dating somebody.
That is not that anymore.
Yeah, no.
No. You guys, let's go to sports. Let's get
exactly. Well,
Let's talk about football.
Right. Third time in NFL history that 3 of the 4 road teams won the divisional round. So you go back to 71 and 2008. This was the third time that's happened. First time in NFL history that all 4 divisional round games were decided by 6 points or less. First time that's happened. First weekend in the NFL playoff history where all 4 games were decided on the final play of the game. And across the 4 games, 41 total points were scored in the final 2 minutes of regulation, including the Bills and Chiefs, which accounted for 25 minutes of the 25 points of those in their game alone down the stretch. That's just a couple of the things, Joel, from the weekend.
Just stats. I'm sitting there. You and I have and Derek have a little text conversation sometimes, and I'm saying, well, it's over. And you're like, just wait. And I'm like, no, it's over. Well, I'm wrong. Then it's like, 13 seconds left. It's over. Just wait. Yeah, guess what? Every time I was wrong.
Yeah,
I'm done predicting it's over.
And you and Dan were talking about how defenses, again, they guard this, they guard that, they leave this.
Yep.
They guard this, they guard that, they leave this. And the leave this part is sometimes, across the face of a defense in an open territory where you're catching a guy on a crossing route and he turns upfield and all of a sudden he catches it 10 yards deep. Then he turns for 7 more. Then if he breaks a tackle, he's got about 10 more. And all of a sudden, when you need 40 yards to get in field goal position, they get like 27 on one play, if not more. And that's what the defense, let's get to some of the highlights because Kansas City and Buffalo alone is worth a season's worth of entertainment. The Kansas City Chiefs Buffalo Bills game, a season's worth of entertainment. Let's start this where the Bills were coming back.
Josh takes shotgun snap, looks, steps up, has time, fires to the end zone. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. The Bills get the lead back again.
Even the Buffalo announcer was just tongue-tied and twisty tongue and all that kind of stuff. But then again, you leave like 13 seconds on the clock. Well, that's far too much for Patrick Mahomes. He just went down the field, as you know, Joel, and they put themselves in a position to tie it. And, of course, it was Harrison Butker's leg that needed to do it.
To try to tie it at 3 seconds to go in the game in regulation. Placement down, the snap was a little low, but Butker gets a kick up, and he ties the game. Ties the game. We're going to overtime.
At this point, everybody said, well, this is going to stink for the team that doesn't win the coin toss. Because it always comes down to that. Because the NFL, as you've discussed, Joel,
many times,
rules are horrendous. I saw one tweet, and I agree with you. I think the college has it right. You start at the 25. But, I saw a tweet said they should make them start at the 25, their own 25. The way these two teams can put it down the field, that'd be a way in the NFL. Start at your own 25 and need to go down the field. And that college obviously starts in the opposition 25. Anyway.
And maybe start them out at the 45. And maybe start them out to 35 on the next one or 25.
Yeah, anything
I don't care, but give each team a chance to hold the ball.
Yeah, the fact that you win the toss. Now, if you don't score, or if you only score a field goal, I get it. The other team gets a chance to get to possess the ball unless there's a defensive score. Then, of course, it's over too, but the defense wins it. Patrick Mahomes, take it away.
36-36 tie in overtime. Chiefs first down and goal to go. Mahomes looks to throw it. Pump faking right side. He wants it. A comeback cut. It is caught by Kelsey. Touchdown, Kansas City.
By this time, Joel's relatives have already stepped in like the leftover popcorn and spaghetti and whatever else.
This was my relative. Of course, I'm cheering for Kansas City. I still think Buffalo got pooched, but this was the field goal to tie it. Okay, so my niece is videotaping. They're jumping around. Each one of them lost 5 pounds. It was just so cool. It was so cool. Yeah.
Mayhem. It's unbelievable. Mahomes and Kansas City moves on. Josh Allen, what about the quarterback that didn't win?
They made one more play than we did. That's what it came down to. It hurts. You don't like feeling like this, especially back-to-back years at the same place. We got to find a way to be better next year and to accomplish what we want to accomplish.
What a class guy.
How do you not like this guy?
Yeah, what a class
guy. How do you not like this guy?
Did we just go through a weekend? And I know you've got other games you got to report here, but I got to get to this one because I've been itching to find out what you think. Did we just go through a weekend where Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers both retired?
Yeah, of the two, what are the chances that one does? I'd put that at 50-50. Of the two, what are the chances that both do? I'd probably put it 23.
Okay.
Of the two, what are the chances that both do not? Probably sticking at same 23 to 25. It's a coin toss, Joel.
Yeah.
Rodgers doesn't want to be part of a rebuild, which is basically, if you read between the lines, that means if Green Bay doesn't re-sign or ink or restructure, and they got the economists of this world are going to have to work that out to get that. If that's the case in Green Bay, then I wouldn't expect Aaron to come back to Green Bay. Now
that's the only thing I'm absolutely positively 99.9% sure of is that if Aaron Rodgers does play next year, it will not be in Green Bay.
Tom Brady even had said that he wants to play to 45 and more. He was all of that talk like, yeah, I'm 2 more years, 3 more years, I'm going to keep going. Then all of a sudden, this past week and a half, he kind of let on, well, I'll have to sit back and think. So something's changed. I was looking at his family in the press. I was telling the news crew here. So looking at Tom's family in the press box, I doubt his kids even knew what the score was. They're like very kids. They're just hanging out there. It's another day at the office. They're eating up there in a suite. Giselle does, obviously, but I don't know. It's a tough call, Joel. I don't know. I think Tom Brady, if he's got an ounce of competition left in him, it's tough to take that uniform off.
What is weird to me is between the two of them, the higher percentage of which one does retire, I think goes to Rodgers.
I would say too. And
I think Brady comes back.
Aaron's so flighty. You just don't know what he's going to do. He could host Jeopardy, or we'd never see him again, or he'll climb hills in Kamchatka and on a bike. I don't know. Aaron's just a flighty. You're not sure what Aaron Rodgers is going to do.
Yeah, and when I say Tom Brady comes back, I would say that's 50-50.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I'm predicting he comes back as much as what I'm saying that I don't think it's 50-50 that Rodgers comes back.
Maybe a little bit lower. I put that like at a 25 or somewhere in that area. We're going to find out. We are going to find out.
I want to ask you one other question about Aaron Rodgers. Do you think that he gets conservative later in the game?
Yeah, I think that the way that game rolled out, I think he was trying to get more fine with his stuff as opposed to that great looseness that Aaron Rodgers just depicts. But you got to give credit to those boys on the other side. I think they made it a little more difficult for Aaron.
I had somebody tell me that, and I looked at him and said, how many times do you see Aaron Rodgers touch the ball with 1:30? And you're sitting there going, look out, because you're not going to sell me that he's conservative.
No, I think he maybe gets a little more concerned about the pressure that's being applied to him.
Please come in here. I would like to visit.
Wolves going to win. Busy weekend in the world of sports, college basketball, cats and dogs playing together. It's a whole bunch of stuff.
Cats and dogs. That was Ghostbusters, Abby. Just in
I
case
know. You made me watch that last week.
Was it good?
It was good.
Yeah. All right. Come on in here, Bones.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense of
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek
Mighty
Hansen,
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that?
It Takes Two.
Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning.
Jerkins News Radio.
Bailey Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces.
Too tall tops,
Joel
man.
Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. We're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there.
What do we talk about? Which one do we go over?
This is a great armchair quarterback Monday for what had happened yesterday because everything finished on the last play and there were mistakes made. Maybe it's just one of those Mondays. So.
Right. And great games, there's always going to be the why didn't they squib kick it? Why didn't they, there's always going to be those. Why didn't Rodgers stretch it out?
I think it was
farther?
13 seconds. Was that sound right? 13?
No, it was. It was 13.
13. So if you squib it and get it past that first line and then those, boom, 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 now all of a sudden they're picking up. Maybe they even fumbled at that a little bit. Now that's 12,
maybe they take a knee.
11, maybe down at 10. But then 10 is you gotta.
The clock starts running once the ball hits past the free kick zone. Right.
It's. I'm sure Buffalo's just watching that film, going, man, we could have done a couple of different things.
I just hate the NFL overtime rule.
Hey, this day, here's what I left out in sports. This date, 1922, Christian K. Nelson patented the Eskimo pie.
What the heck?
I'm not lying.
So nice.
If you left them in your desk, they'd turn into hockey pucks?
That's exactly right. Could you imagine Jimmy Marshall, not Jim Marsh, but James Marshall, this date, 1848, discovered a gold nugget at Sutter's Mill in Northern California.
Oh.
Remember when that leaked out?
Yep.
Oh, it was like Wee Fest on steroids. People
What's San Francisco's nickname, Abby? The football team.
The 49ers, isn't that their name,
so
though?
in 1848, old Jimmy Marshall found that nugget. In 49, the rush was
filling up.
Everybody was coming over.
49ers. All right, when we come back, we're going to include Rusty Halverson in this conversation because he's sitting there going, well, what the heck?
Like I could use an Eskimo pie
That's
about
right.
now.
Stick around. More coming your way.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. We're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek
Mighty
Hansen,
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two. Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning. Jerkins News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces. Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah
7.
Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
So today on MSUM campus we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of
experts. Also, don't forget our text club is brought to you by Eye Consultants of North Dakota, the latest technology and personal caring attention, providing eye care for your life. They're at 32nd Avenue South in Fargo. Eye Consultants of North Dakota. Rusty Halverson joins this cup of coffee conversation.
Rusty, do you think, Joel, once James Marshall discovered this nugget, I'd say we were out in eastern United States and it caught, wind, rumor, boom, and now it lands on Joel's. And we live down the block in a hut by the Heitkamp compound made of log cabin wood and all that. And he says, you know what? I'm going to load up the wagon and go find me some gold.
Go find me some gold.
You guys in? Do you think Joel, do you think you will?
Oh, I know I'd go.
Yeah.
I absolutely know I'd go. I'd go in a heartbeat.
Ah.
Wouldn't you have gone and brought out the old pickaxe and just tried it?
Yeah, living in a hut, give it a shot.
Right?
just
Why
going
not?
across.
Why not?
For me, the first thing I would have thought of, other than the opportunity to get rich, and who knows, and the whole Golden Valley type
Stake your
thing,
claim, just all of that.
just the lifestyle that went with it.
Yeah, people
just think of that. The hanging out in a tent, drinking beer with some buddies.
I tell you what, Joel, I found my gold in California.
that's where all the gold is.
Yes, he did.
You know where it was?
And he overshot his coverage.
In a bank in the middle of Beverly Hills in somebody else's name.
Right now, she's probably scratching her head saying, what did I fall? He brought me to 30 below.
Abby, would you have just dropped everything, 1848, grabbed the girls and headed out?
Oh, it's a girls' trip? For sure. Bring a little wine. Okay, we can look for some gold.
Wine country.
That would have
never.
I don't know that
country.
we have like my group of friends. It's not like we have any men getting us gold, so got to do it ourselves.
So you have to do it yourself.
Oh, now listen to her. No men getting us gold. By the way, you know where we're going to be tomorrow, boys?
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be at
Boots.
Mapleton, the Muddy Boots Coffee House. It's time for coffee with KFGO. Thank you to Vision Ford of Wapton. Ward Cater and his team will be there as well. I've been there, and I got to tell you, I left feeling younger. Because,
really?
Right. You know me. I'm not, when I got a chance to interview Sarah Heinrich and begged her to come work with us, and, we met at a coffee shop. And when I leave a coffee shop, I feel younger, like I'm in touch with society today. Which I don't always feel like I'm in, I'm one of those.
I don't make you feel that way, Joel.
I'm one of those, small town cafes, sit there and they're talking right today about, hey, Buffalo should have got a chance to touch that ball.
That's all total water code. Now, two things on this, and don't say if you know, but tomorrow I want to find out why they call it the Muddy Boots. And then, do you know?
Yes, I asked.
Don't give it out yet.
Yes,
because we'll reveal that tomorrow.
Yes.
I don't know.
We'll reveal that tomorrow.
I have to tell you, the attitude of the ladies that I met when I scouted this place was very, very exciting. They're happy, they're pleasant, they're fun. They're like, how you go there and they're like, well, tell me about this. Instead, come on, this will be
got
fun.
Good people. Now, is it a BYOH?
Bring your own hash browns.
That's my girl.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, it's a bring your own hash browns.
Okay.
But the rolls are going to be fabulous.
Rolls are great. Coffee is great. Rusty and I, though, are addicted to hash browns.
We'll have to pick some up on the way.
A little BYOH.
Could there ever
get that? Nice
was it McDonald's or who had those very gross triangle hash browns?
No, McDonald's are an oval.
Remember the triangle ones that just look like somebody lost a bet in a bar somewhere?
I think.
What?
Hey, you know what? We should make our hash browns.
Well, there goes those potential sponsorships.
Yeah, I don't know that we should name. If we do figure it out, I don't know if we should name.
Well, you got to be honest. It doesn't mean the rest of the
I have
food
breakfast
bites,
hash
but-
browns at every place in town,
I can't think of it.
and I think it might be related to Marby's.
Really?
They have the. I think
Did
they've got.
No, it's not
McDonald's
them.
used to have a triangle one?
I think it was McDonald's that had the triangle one.
And I feel like they switched to oval, and that's really up to the hash brown game.
The reason I know it's not Marby's is because of the fact that there was no Marby's in my life. Right? And I had these in my life before all of this.
So it'd have to be somewhere
So it'd have
south
to be
of Fargo.
I mean, if I want a great roast
Marby's
beef
or
and a Marby's,
It has to be
Murder-
Snicksnonald's.
I had to go to a Party's.
Snurger Swing.
I had to go to a Party's to get a...
Maybe it was a Party's.
Maybe. But
You know, I was at Fred Bobster the other day.
Oh.
Fred Bobster.
That's where
I was at the Lou Putt.
Oh, nice.
These are all places where Jack eats, you know.
You just rolled out my entire week of
Well,
eating.
and Wall of Warden.
I do that too.
You go there a lot.
I love
that and Lion Fran. You like Lion Fran.
I like the Lion Fran. Lion Fran is where they're water cooling talking today about those football games.
I'll guarantee you they're talking at the Lion Fran.
That's why I go to the Lion Fran.
They're sitting there right now going, what? The pie ain't done?
I can't believe that quarterback. You don't think he's going to be fine with this.
They used to put butter on these caramel rolls.
This stinks up there. You know, I've got a rash on my inner thigh now. Do you ever get that when you get older?
Anyway. I'm waiting for a text club. I'm waiting for a text club to tell me who used to have the triangle hash browns.
Yeah.
It just looked like they'd be best
To be
used
honest,
as a boomerang.
To be honest, though, you know what it looks like? It looks like the label on Jordache jeans we wore in the 80s.
Back in the day.
Right? Remember those, the triangle?
Yeah.
I don't know if we wore those or the women wore. I don't know. Back then, I think everybody wore everybody.
I don't know.
I maybe asked you this before, Bones, but I got to know. You grew up with these lovely older sisters,
Yes.
right? What, 3 of them?
Vicky, Debbie, Shelley.
All right, and so as you being the youngest, and clothes got passed down,
right?
Did you ever have to button your clothes on the other side,
on the
wrong side, and then your boyfriends at school went, "That ain't how you button it."
First of all, Joel, I didn't call him my boyfriend. No, teacher.
Maybe just like your pal, your guy friends.
I didn't say it. Come on over here, Troy. You're my boyfriend.
Somebody said it's Arby's.
Hey,
it is not.
See?
No,
That's
it is not Arby's.
I'll guarantee you they had triangle. I bet you was Marby's.
With all due respect, there was no Arby's in my life.
I kind of feel like it was McDonald's when they changed to Oval.
I
don't know.
McDonald.
It could have been.
What?
McDonald's.
It was McDonald's.
I do
Trying
know.
to think of something quick, Mac and Donald.
I do know that nothing comes between me and my Jordache jeans.
Okay, so I got to ask both of you this.
Here we go. They button them down the side? Or is that hash? Anyway.
So, going forward, let's go forward and not look backwards because the NFL has an absolutely stupid overtime rule.
Yeah.
Let's go forward and look at some of the matchups here. Who do you like, Bones?
Well, you've got Sunday, by the way, the game time. Sunday, the AFC goes first. So that's 2 o'clock, Cincy at Kansas City. Kansas City, here's the thing. As much as I don't choose against Josh Allen apparently anymore because he just wins, and obviously he didn't yesterday, he never got a chance to. I'm starting to get that feeling with Joe Burrow and company.
Yeah.
With the same kind of Bengals feeling. Just go ahead, try to pick against us.
I got that one right this week.
You did.
That said, I think Kansas City got their game, and now they put their foot on the gas. Been there, done that, and then they cancel out Cincy and KC's in the Super Bowl at Katie Bar, the office pool, when that happens, when Joel gets his relatives involved.
Yeah, Joe Burrow on the road.
Yeah,
wow.
There's no way I'm taking the Bengals this week.
I don't think you
No
could.
way.
I don't
sorry.
think you could choose against the Chiefs at home in an AFC title game. I don't know.
I have to tell you that our celebrity picker last week, Shelley,
the mayor,
the mayor of
yeah.
Moorhead. She and I were communicating by text yesterday.
Did she get all these right?
No. Remember, she's a Packer fan. Remember?
I picked the 49ers.
Yep. Yes, you did.
I set up a whole thing to give the 49ers a win and then canceled it and took Green Bay.
Yeah, well, you want to know a bigger problem? Dino told me that we're taking the 49ers and the points, right?
Yep.
He didn't. Right at the end, he flopped. Oh. Yeah.
Oh.
That's a nope.
Just saying, there won't be no new shoes in the
like
Heitkamp house.
200 donuts.
You were so excited about that.
I was like, I can't believe you got this one right.
Russ, you're taking KC?
Yeah.
I mean, it's Monday, so we can change our mind by the time Sunday hits.
Yeah, let me think about it, but I think...
Joel, I'm curious, the Battle of California. This is the late game on Sunday. San Fran at L.A.
Oh, that one's easy. That one's Rams. That one's the Rams big time.
No.
The Rams are going to win that one
Jimmy
big
G.
time. Nope. Jimmy G got lucky.
Great sausage. Oh,
He was throwing dimes.
Jimmy Dean. I'm sorry. That was Jimmy G.
Jimmy G got lucky. In the first half, he had so many picks. He had a pick 6. that he got lucky.
They did everything not to, but again, they are the complete team. And we say this about San Francisco. They've got many factions to their game.
I would argue that they're not a complete team because they're out of the 4 quarterbacks left, he's 4th.
Well, right, but I'm talking about defense, special teams, offense. San Fran can...
2 points about the Packers, guys. The first being that all year long they knew they had a special team problem. Right. I mean that they talked about it. It was all over the media. They knew they had a special team problem. I don't know how you fix that. If you start putting some starters in, but
remove
the coach right, and get some other philosophy in. But they knew they had that. The other thing about the Packers that we've all watched enough ball, and a lot of the people that are and we've watched it with our boyfriends. We sat there in my fish house, and here's the thing that I know. Here's the absolute thing that I know. You could feel it. You could feel it because the Packers let them wait around. They let them hang in there. Yeah. And anytime you do that, in the end, it catches up to you.
Yep. In this league, this day and age,
when that punt was blocked.
Yep.
Did you just go? Whoa! This is over.
Oh boy!
You could just the Lambeau, like the air got sucked out of Lambeau Field. It is like now you're in trouble.
Yep.
You're in trouble on that. Get on that. The other big news we didn't even touch on, Joel, because there was so much, and this I buried the lead. Former Fargo didn't have Tom Hoagie. Tom Hoagie.
Yes.
At the Quinta, California PGA Tour. I mean, he was wrestling with number 1, which would have shot him into the Masters automatically. Tom's having a nice season already. He finishes second, pulls home $828,400. He finishes second.
So I get $80K if I'm a caddy?
21 under. If it's 10%, if the caddy fee is, you got text Dave Schultz, see what the caddy fees are.
Yeah,
but if it's 10%, yeah, that's 82.8.
That's
that
a
he's
lot.
pulling home that weekend.
Well, and he's up to what you said this morning?
300 FedEx points. I think he's in that 1.5 million somewhere in that area.
I heard you talking
already.
to the morning crew about it this
Good
morning.
job, Tom.
Yeah, Tommy Hoax.
Stick around. We've got more. By the way, the mayor here is talking about
Magic City.
Yeah. Oh my God. She goes, this is nearly as frustrating as golf. I said the only one I got wrong was the Packers. She goes, sure, rub it in.
She had 3-1.
She will be back with us next year as a celebrity picker. So stick around. More coming your way here on the News and Views Radio Network.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek Hansen, Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two. Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning. Jerkins News Radio.
Bailey Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces. Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Access, your home.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense of it.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270. Laney's News and Views studio line at 1-800-880-5346. Jack Michaels, Abby Miller, Rusty Alverson. All right. A lot of people are thinking this is the great thing about the NFL. We're already receiving text messages. San Francisco and Cincinnati Bengals, it's going to be a rematch. I mean, there's everybody thinks that any of these four teams can win.
And much San Francisco taking us back to the day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, that's John Candy.
If that's if that's who it is, I mean it's okay. I'll take it. I guess I'll take it.
Notice I just left that hang out. Like he seems so passionate.
I have no. You and I both really don't, and Rusty and probably Abby really don't have a pony in the race here.
I do.
You kind of do, Joel, with KC. So, you do with
49ers.
San Francisco.
The way.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's two passes that
Abby and I dog in the fight.
I don't.
We don't have any.
Jared Allen hit about a 70-yard pass right in step yesterday. Josh Allen, and he also threw one like submarine, like a fast pitch pitcher. Do you see Mahomes do that same thing?
I saw Mahomes
threw it
do that.
underneath the defender. I'm like,
he looked like his daddy.
Yeah,
coming 3/4 arm.
Here's the point that I'm trying to get at. You've got two of the greatest athletes the NFL has ever had in Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. You've got two coming up that are going to be the two Hall of Fame, if they stay healthy, quarterbacks. Burrows might be a third to that. I don't think. Never mind. And with all due, respect to Sabrina, I don't think he's that good in San Francisco.
Jimmy G.
Yeah. But I will tell you this: when you can make plays like that, only a select few people can make a play like that.
Yeah, a lot don't even try.
To
do that. But I brought this up on the Jack Michael Show weekdays at noon on 740 The Fan. I brought this up with our gang, with Maddie and Derek, about the next generation, where the baton is passed to. Who's the next generation's Tom Brady that comes with all those rings and championships? Who's the next generation's Aaron Rodgers that is right up there, if not, some would say maybe even more goatish than Tom, even though I think probably loses out with the rings and the championship. Who's the next? And you look at Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and Justin Herbert, and as you said, Jimmy's young. We haven't even seen Trey Lance, and that's the situation with San Francisco. Do you let Jimmy go?
Yeah.
And Trey's your dude, or
with where Jimmy took him this year, there's no way you can. Let him go
think
now.
about that. You get that going, and so there's so many good young quarterbacks in this league. And, who are the next ones in the league is in terrific shape.
Yeah, I tell you what, Bones, Trey Lance, he needs some seat time.
I saw someone said free Trey Lance, meaning get him out of there. Let Jimmy take it. Give Trey his shot somewhere else.
Here's the comparisons that I was making yesterday, albeit just to my house, in my fish house with a cigar, having a beer.
Yes.
Which is that if you look at Allen, he, to me, is a mirror of Rodgers. If you look at Mahomes, he, to me, is a mirror of Brady. Now, granted, Mahomes rolls out. Brady is more of a... But the height, the step, the throw, that's who they remind me of.
Potential success and rings and Super Bowl championships and all that. And Allen's that throwback...
Blue collar.
Win it in an alley.
I'll put my head down.
All that stuff. I'll run if I have to. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't know where you put Herbert. I think he's on the next, but he's a good quarterback.
So let me ask you this. If you're a head coach and you've left the defense to your defensive coordinator, which all do, why in the world would you walk in a locker room and high-five somebody that left the best wide receiver they have uncovered?
Yeah, when you run a zero blitz and you empty and bring everybody and you fail at getting to pressure.
Well, I mean,
you roll the dice.
Jack
and all of a sudden
Michaels
you
is
gotta,
their best receiver. I've got seconds to go. I'm going to put 2 guys on him.
Yeah,
I'm going to make sure that somebody else beats me.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but
you would think, if you can get pressure and force something weird in the backfield, great. But if you don't, that's what happens.
We'll talk beef when we come back with
What's for dinner?
So today on the MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek Hansen, Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that?
It Takes Two.
Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning.
News Radio.
Katie Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Force.
Too tall.
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to
a weekend. Abby, did you catch any of the NFL games this weekend?
None.
My goodness. Do you love your country?
Yep.
Okay, just checking.
I'll hear about it after. Jack is great at that, And on Sunday morning, I was driving home from Minneapolis with my father, and my mom called us and said, "Did you hear last night? The Packers lost." And my dad, he hadn't even paid attention to it. But yeah,
all I have to say
that was
is,
the only one I kind of was aware of.
I've been an NFL fan as long as I've been old enough to know there was an NFL, which means, I don't know, 3, 4, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, there was no weekend of playoff football that was better than that. It was every game just held you, and you couldn't, you just couldn't leave the TV. You couldn't leave the radio. I'm sitting there listening on the radio, and I'm like sitting,
holding your breath the whole time.
I know.
Yeah.
It was just so much fun. And regardless of what the outcomes were, I know there's some, I've got a lot of good friends that are Packer fans, and that bites. Trust me. Been there. Gary Anderson, missed field goal. 12 guys in the field. Been there. All I know is this. It was great games. It was great games. We're going to talk about it a little bit later. Now we've got David Schwalbe. He is with the Dakota Resource Council and a member of their ag team. He's a retired lifelong rancher who grew up on a beef operation ranch in the Badlands of western North Dakota. So he got to live the dream. That's right. Something tells me that David has sat a horse. You want to bet on that?
No, I don't want to bet on that.
Just checking. Kerry Doctor is somebody that I communicate with a lot, and he is the president of Independent Beef Association of North Dakota, or as I'm going to call them a lot, IBAND in this interview, and that's actually what they call themselves. David, this is my way of checking. Are you there? Good to have you on, buddy.
Good morning, Joel. It's good to be on, and thanks for taking the time to listen to us.
You bet. Kerry, are you there, bud?
Yes, sir.
Was that football or what, Kerry? Come on.
That was football. Absolutely. Every game.
Kerry and I usually run into each other down in Frisco, and so I know he's as big a football fan as I am. David, I've got to just try to make a couple bucks here, but I know that Abby wasn't going to take the action. But you have saddled a horse before in your life, haven't you?
Oh, yes. More than I'd care to remember sometimes. I've got a lot of aching knees and aching shoulders to prove it.
Okay. I want to get to the mandatory country of origin labeling bill that's being sponsored by 5 Dems and 5 Republicans. But I want to get to this, too. And Kerry, I'm going to kick it to you first, and you two can bounce it by each other. But, IBAND, and you guys are getting active with the schools. And one of the real things that I wanted to make sure people knew is what you've got going on with the schools. Tell them about it, Kerry.
Well, we've been kind of kicking this around for a couple of years, wondering why our schools and our children and grandchildren aren't getting the best quality beef that we raise in the state here into their food, or into their hot lunch programs. And so we were told for years that, it's a lot of red tape and you can't go there and all that stuff. Well, one of our directors who lives along the North Dakota-South Dakota border informed us that South Dakota's been doing this for years. And so he approached his local school district, which is in South Dakota, and asked his school district if he could donate critter for their hot lunch program, and they said yes, absolutely. So he reached out to a processor in South Dakota, and he said, if you're going to donate the beef, I'm going to donate the processing. And so that's how it got started, and they got beef into their local school district. And so he come back to one of our board meetings, and he said, there's no reason we can't do this in North Dakota. And so we reached out to the Department of Public Instruction and the Ag Department and sat down and visited with them, and they said, absolutely, you can do it. The meat just has to come through a state-inspected plant. And so IBAND decided, let's kick in some money and just get some of this beef introduced to as many schools as we can. And so as of now, I think we've reached out to 20 schools and gotten our North Dakota beef into their hot lunch programs. And the feedback has just been absolutely fabulous. the cooks say, it smells like beef, it cooks like beef, there's an aroma in the kitchen, and we're getting way more yield out of this beef than the commodity beef that we're normally used to working for. And so, Joel, I just want to make a comment how I think this all ties together. The commodity beef that the schools are getting, of course, is stamped USDA, but the feedback I've been getting from cooks and stuff as far as how appealing it is not very good. And so there it goes to show you, we don't know where it comes from. It might even be imported beef from God knows where. And I'm pretty passionate about this. Our kids deserve better than that, especially when we live in a state where we produce superior beef, that we can't get that incorporated into our hot lunch programs. And so I think this program's going to take off. We had one school already tell us that they go through about 10,000 pounds of hamburger a year, and they're already sourcing where they can get their product as locally as they possibly can. And so I think it's something that's going to take off.
So, and David, that doesn't surprise you one bit, does it? I thought instantly of Joanne Keel. David, she was the cook. My mom cooked at a school for years. They know the difference. They know the difference, and it doesn't surprise you one bit that people like those individuals love the fact that they've got this.
You're absolutely right. And my compliments to Mr. Doctor and the IBAM people for taking the initiative to start something like this. And country of original labeling has been a sore spot with me for a long, long time. And the more I got to digging into this subject, the more disgusted I got. They can bring in lean beef from South America, mix it with a little tallow here in this country to make it up to their standards, and it becomes a product of the USA, and they can market it around the world as a product of the USA. They can bring in this hamburger and mix a little salt with it, and it becomes a product of the USA. The thing that gets me is beef and pork are the only two meat commodities that are excluded from the country of original labeling. Lamb, chicken, everything else is labeled where they come from. Now, if these countries are so proud of their product, why don't they want to label it where it comes from? Let us decide what we want to eat.
Well, and I think we all know who benefits from that. I really do. Carrie, before I find out what's going on in the weather here and I make you guys hang on and visit a little more, I have to ask you this, because everybody in their pickup and in their office is asking the same thing right now, which is, what's the price difference? If a school was to go with a program like the one that you just put out there, how much extra is it going to mean to the school district's budget?
Joel, we're finding out that they can probably source their hamburger locally for not a whole lot more than what they're paying for the commodity burger. And what they're finding out is when they go to cooking it, they're getting a lot more out of it than the local beef versus the commodity beef. It's yielding in the upper 70% range, with the commodities burger is probably in the 60% range. So they factor that all in. They did a test just last week in the Mandan school system, and I can't remember the exact figures, but she said it all, with what they go through a year, it'll give them enough extra hamburger for several other meals throughout the year, of just the difference in the yield. And so if you factor that in to the price of it, they're way better off buying it locally.
Well, and what you're really getting at here is not, boy, this is about, and I understand it, you want the kids to have the best meal they can, but it's a way to showcase it. It's a way to highlight it. It's a way for, people who, everybody loves their kids, to be able to say, hey, if the kids are getting that, then why the heck not the parents at home? So I know what you're getting at here, but when we come back, let's talk a little bit about why. Why we're not seeing the type of labeling we should see on our beef that's raised right here. But first, I got to go to the weather cave and visit with Too Tall Tom Szymanski.
Cold out there. Wind chill headlines in effect for all but the far west.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek
Mighty
Hansen, Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two. Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Force. Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of
beef that was raised right here, which is all I buy because I can go through my local butcher and do just that at Fairmont Lockers. Now, that being said, guys, the big problem as I see it is how we get to there. Because there's people putting roadblocks, not from Mexico, not from Canada, but I'm going to throw this to you first, David. Why are we finding people in the good old U.S. of A. that are arguing about country of origin labeling?
It gets down to the amount of money involved. This is a very lucrative business for these big corporations. They make $926 a head profit on every animal processed. When you get that much money in a system, it's hard to get it out of the system. And JBS was under indictment last year by the Justice Department for a whole list of infractions. Basically, it comes down to corruption. It cost them $528.5 million, and they bought their way out of it. And then when the COVID money was handed out, they got handed another $2 million or whatever because of the COVID. They turned right around and started buying up more small companies. I hate to point fingers at, but I have to point the finger right at Washington, D.C. and what's going on there. And how did these outfits, how are they able to buy themselves out of the Justice Department investigation? Now, how do we counteract that? We're going to have to get active. We're going to have to start calling our senators and representatives and complaining. Senate Bill 2716 is to reinstate mandatory cool or country of origin labeling. And I call it the Rancher Consumer Protection Act. It could be known as that because it protects the consumers as well as the ranchers. Because the ranchers are getting record low prices, the consumers are paying record high prices, and you've got these big packing corporations sitting right in the middle, making obscene profits.
Kerry, it isn't as though this doesn't happen with other products. It seems like beef is one of the ones that's singled out here, and I don't get that, Kerry.
You're absolutely right. You know, back when the WTO negotiating was going on and stuff, you know, our country backed off and let other countries dictate of what we can label and what we can't. And, of course, we were threatened with tariffs. Well, if you look back, and, of course, that's water over the dam. But if you look back and we'd have paid those tariffs, it would have been a drop in the bucket for what we've lost in market share for our product. And instead, it's all fallen into the hands, like David said, of the big corporations.
So let me ask you this. Why, and I knew it was going to come at me, guys, why aren't we getting a unified response from the cattlemen? And I'm going to kick that one to you first, Kerry, because it seems like cattlemen themselves are fighting over country of origin labeling vis-a-vis IBAND and the Stockmen's Association. And, I mean, it doesn't seem like there's kumbaya in your industry here, Kerry.
No, you're exactly right. And this week, and that's why we're just happy to be on the radio with you today. This week is an effort to call, and of course in North Dakota here, we're targeting Senator Kramer to get him to sign on and support this 2716 bill. But it's a nationwide effort, and it's not only just IBAND, it's RCAF, it's United States Cattlemen's Association. They're all working together this week to try to target some of these centers, especially up in the upper Midwest here, in the agricultural states where we produce the best beef in the world, to get them to sign on. And like David said, I think money's talking here. Somebody's greasing their palms. I'm totally convinced of it. Why other livestock organizations aren't supporting us? I think Farmers Union is on board. North Dakota Stockmen Association, I haven't heard any comments from them. I know they're an affiliate with NCBA, and I suspect that's probably why they haven't made any comments.
Well, and I'm going to kick this back to you as well, David, because the Dakota Resource Council is about building coalitions to take on things like this. what advancements have we made? Because I've been doing this for a lot of years years so far, and I have yet to see any of the progress made here, David.
Well, the Dakota Resource Council has been doing a great job at educating some of the farmers and ranchers and consumers alike. Things aren't going to change until the consumers stand up and demand better prices and fairer prices at the grocery stores. And I would like to compliment Senator Hogan and then Senator Rounds and Thune from South Dakota. They have stepped up. We're hoping that Kramer will step up and join them. We're also hoping that Tina Smith and Amy Klobuchar and Daines out of Montana Klobuchar and Smith out of Minnesota and Daines out of Montana will also join in. But this is a bipartisan bill. This is not about politics. It's about people's lives. They should set politics aside and do something to fix a serious situation before we don't have any farmers or ranchers left.
Can you guys hang with me? Because we're already getting questions about a meatpacking plant being based right out of here, and how the big packers are the ones that are controlling this, and some of our local beef associations are the ones that are afraid to take them on. That's the messages I'm getting, and I want to make sure you guys get it. David, do you have a little more time for me?
I've got all the time in the world at this age. What else have I got to do?
Carrie, how about you? Can you hang with me?
Cows can wait to get fed.
All right. Which one of you two had somebody give a little message on the phone here, while you're doing this interview?
I have no idea.
One of you two's phone was ringing, and Abby and I were, stick around. More coming your way on News and Views.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense of
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek Hansen, Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that from It Takes Two? Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning. Paul Jerkins News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces. Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. We're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to.
With David Schwalbe, he is with the Dakota Resource Council. He's a member of their ag team. Also, we're getting a chance to visit with Carrie Doctor, president of IBAN, the Independent Beef Association of North Dakota. Carrie, you knew this was going to come up. You knew it. People are asking why we just don't control things ourselves, why we don't have a slaughter plant here, have a meat packing plant, and then label it here. And if the product's that good, people will buy it and it'll take off. What's the answer to that, Carrie?
I think we need to keep that conversation going. Since we started this little project, or IBAN started this project of getting this beef into schools, I've had calls from several legislators asking the same question. Is it time we sit down and start talking about this? And I said, it's never too early to start talking. Whether we need to look at a state-owned plant, plant incorporated into a co-op system, or do we need just more smaller regional plants scattered across the state? I don't know what the answer is, but I think it's time to start talking about it. I think the need is here. Just knowing what we've gone through with these schools, if they could reach out and source their burger locally, and I don't want to just say burger. It's probably time to get some roasts and stuff incorporated into these hot lunch programs also. But if they can reach out and source it locally within the state here, I know they're darn sure going to do it.
I'm going to, excuse me, I'm going to kick this one back to you as well, Carrie. What's the biggest hurdle, assuming money isn't a problem? What's the biggest hurdle to running a slaughter plant here?
From what I'm hearing of the plants that we do have, is getting inspectors, whether it's on the state level or the federal level, is getting inspectors on board, and so they can keep the process flowing. And I'm sure labor is going to be an issue too. But from what I'm hearing, just in conversation, we don't just need the packing plant. We need the incinerator or whatever to take care of the byproduct also, right along with it.
Well, and David, all the years that you've been raising beef out there on the open range in the Badlands, I mean, do you think that if Abby goes to a grocery store and sees something marked with that country of origin labeling, do you think she's apt to buy that, even if she might and I'm not stressing it's going to happen, but even if she might pay a buck more here and there, do you think she'll buy it?
I think that she will, because you're guaranteed a good, safe product. We have no idea what goes on at the packing houses in South America, Australia, Africa, or any of these other countries. Our beef producers have spent millions upgrading their herds to a quality product. Our ag research universities have spent millions in developing good, safe, sound methods for raising beef. Our USDA has spent millions on beef inspection. And this is all pushed aside in favor of beef coming in from countries we have no idea where it's coming from. So, yes, there's that guarantee that you're going to get a product that doesn't have any drugs in it, doesn't have any hormones in it, and I think it would make a big difference. Plus, I have to argue with you on the fact that you think it would cost $1 or something more. I don't think that's true, because if you process it here, you're eliminating all these middlemen. You know, you stop to think about what it costs to ship a side of beef all the way from Brazil here. And the product that you're going to have when it gets here, they're adding on a lot of expenses to that stuff. So I'm thinking we could do it here probably cheaper than the big corporate packing houses could do it, because we've got two things that a lot of other places don't have, and that's cheap energy and a lot of water. Those two are very important. The rest will take care of itself.
I want to throw some of the text messages that came in through our iConsultants of North Dakota text club. I'm going to kick some of these to you, Carrie. One says, country of origin labeling was repealed in 2015 because the World Trade Organization told the U.S. to do so. Another one, the North Dakota ranchers aren't getting jack for their cattle prices. The slaughterhouses are getting the cattle for dirt cheap. The grocery stores aren't the ones getting rich. There's not a whole lot of markup at the grocery store. It's pretty easy to see where the rancher and the consumer are getting screwed. If we know that, and Carrie, you and I have been talking about this for a long time. If we know that, then why haven't we been able to fix it?
I think a lot of all those things you read there, Joel, I think one of the main issues, and this is probably, and David will probably agree with me, this is probably why we're fighting this so hard now, is we need the consumers on board here also. We need the consumers to stand up and say, hey, we don't know what we're paying this high price for. We're getting screwed in the grocery store of the prices we're paying. And believe me, a lot of consumers are starting to source locally, just like you said you do. But as far as livestock organizations and stuff, we've been fighting this for a long time, and I commend the Dakota Resource Council for reaching out and recognize the problem and wanting to get on board. And I think we really need the consumers to start contacting their legislators too, because we've been battling this for a long time, and just seems like we're hitting our head against the wall.
So Carrie, let me throw this back at you again. Let me give you a scenario. I'm back in one of those chairs in the North Dakota Senate, back what I was doing before, and I introduced a piece of legislation that says the state will invest in a meatpacking plant. That we're going to do this with the similar attitude we had about a state-run bank and about a state mill and elevator. And so we're going to get into this. And somebody comes to the hearing and they say, well, this is nothing but socialism. This is government getting involved in and involving itself in private business matters. What would be your answer to that, Carrie, if you were sitting in one of those chairs?
I'd say to them, you can call it socialism, but I think main thing what we're doing is protecting our food supply system and sourcing it locally and showing to the consumers the best product in the world is right here, without having to go through importing it in and the risk factor of dragging something else into this country. As far as legislators getting behind it and supporting it, I think the time has come where they're ready to look at it. I really do.
Well, I think the most important thing is there's finally enough money in the bank to do it. It would just have to prove itself to be able to run itself after you built it. You know, if I was to pass a bill like that in the old days, the money to build it would have been a big question. But now that you got the money to get into it, to invest in it, the big question would be whether or not you're going to keep throwing money at it, and nobody would want to do that. And you know, David, when you think about that, of course, everything that goes along with that is what Carrie said earlier, the byproduct, and being able to utilize that.
That's true. And there are markets for those byproducts. It's going to take a real effort on the part of our university research schools. It's going to take an effort on the part of our ranchers and our consumers and our legislators and our leadership in the legislature to get this done. Now, when they first come through with the state mill and elevator, there was same conversations went on then as what's going on now. We had the nonpartisan league doing it. It has proven to be extremely successful. It has grown to be the largest mill and elevator in the North and South American continent, and getting bigger. The Bank of North Dakota has bailed out the legislature in their budget funding, session after session after session. It's been very, very successful. So when they want to argue about socialism, this is not socialism. This is a program to keep our rural people here, keep our young people here, and keep them working here, give them a reason to stay here. And if anything taught us anything, the COVID, as bad as it was, it could have been a lot more serious. We saw a breakdown in the food chain. Our food chain is very fragile. We saw our shelves empty on some products. Now, if something really serious happens, hungry people, they vote. You know, the old saying goes, they vote with their wallet. Well, they also vote with an empty belly. So the people in Washington, this should have been a heads up to them, that maybe we need to get some regional processing plants, some regional warehouses, and a different distribution program so people are not going to go hungry if something serious really happens down the road.
Yeah. I want to get Jason on with you. Jason, do you have a question or a comment for these guys?
Is this me?
Yes, it is.
Well, I got a lot of questions and a lot of problems with some of the statements here. I want to say that I have no problem with us locally sourcing beef for schools or anything like that. I'm a beef producer myself, and I have no problem with the talk about an in-state packing plant. But it sounds to me like you're suggesting, or Kerry has suggested, that beef prices are too high. The president has suggested this, and that we're saying that the product we get off of food service trucks is unsafe. We are not trying to lower the prices of beef. We're just trying to take a bigger cut. I think we're on the right trajectory now. We're starting to develop more local plants, and we're going to do more of this and solve our own issues here going forward. But I think this is the wrong message we're trying to send here to everybody, that the rest of our food supply is unsafe. And somebody like Kerry has to be able to sell his cows, his cattle. They're going through the food system we have. So by disparaging that to make yourself and your product look better is the wrong message to send to consumers.
Okay, Jason, let's let Kerry respond to that. Kerry?
I'm not quite sure the point he's trying to make there, but I agree. If we develop more plants within the state and stuff, we develop also a market for our cull cows that are definitely need to be improved in the price. If I said that the price is too high, I meant to the consumers of what they're paying. In comparison, who's getting the profit? It sure as heck isn't us producers out here.
A lot of the cost right now is going into feed costs. Feed costs are extremely high. By next year, we can already see the futures prices are much higher. That will solve itself over time with supply and demand. But we got caught up in a pandemic when 50% of our demand went by the wayside overnight, and we had to build a way back to sell the product, and the plants kept running. I'm amazed that our system worked as well as it did through all that we went through because you can see the supply chain issues all across the country going on. We weathered the storm quite well, and we're on the way up.
All right,
We gotta
Jason,
be
let's let Carrie respond to that. Carrie?
Well, I probably agree that going through the COVID was a thing, but I think what we realized going through the pandemic is how fragile our food chain system was. And I think that's why the statement I made is if we can source locally and keep our product moving that way, we're way better off.
Hold on, both of you, though. Hold on. Jason, you mentioned the point that Carrie said that the quality wasn't good. What I heard Carrie say was the quality that was being offered to those schools was better. And so I'm trying to.
I want to see research on that. I saw the articles and the news stories. In our school, I'm on the school board, and our school benefited from this donation. I thought it was fantastic. I think it's a great thing. But one of the reasons we haven't been able to offer as much beef as we want is the price is high. We're trying to deal with that and use more of our budget. This isn't going to cheapen that up. It was never about food safety or quality.
I want to go back to the quality.
That's what the article said.
I want to go back to what was said about the quality. Carrie, are those cooks saying the quality is better of what you're providing?
Absolutely.
And Jason, you're saying you don't believe that?
That is such a subject. If you're going to ask somebody and they give you some donated product, of course they're going to love it when it's right there and fresh. The best message you have is you know who it's coming from, and it is local. Sell that message.
All right, I got to go to the weatherman. Both of you, too, thank you. Thanks for your time, Carrie. Thank you, David, for coming on today.
I would like to mention one more thing, if I could.
Yeah, David, I tell you what, I'm so up against the clock. You hold on then. Okay. I'll let you do it when we get back. Let's get to the weather cave and visit with Too Tall Tom. Tom?
Wind chill headlines in effect for a good part of the region.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Dear
Mighty
Kansas
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two. Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces. Too Tall Tom. Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Access, your home.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. We're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of
And one says, if Jason can't believe that our beef is better, then he doesn't know very much about beef. All right. Another one. Therein lies the problem, Joel. Jason thinks there isn't a problem. The other ones think there is. Who are we supposed to believe? I don't know. It's you want to talk about somebody that's got a hard job. Let's get to our farm and ranch director, Sarah Heinrich. Sarah, a lot of passion comes out when it comes to the pricing of beef.
Absolutely, and that's been something that we've really seen for decades. And I guess you could say nothing new to the industry. And it's certainly been a debate and a topic that's been going around now from probably more years than I can count.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. What's going on in the markets?
We're seeing a mixed board right now. Soybeans with the largest losses. March soybeans down 11 1/4 at 14.03. New crop November at 13.07, down 9 1/4. March corn up a penny and a quarter at 6.17. December at 5.61, 4 cents lower. March wheat up 9 1/2 at 9.45. While September's at 9.02, up a nickel and a quarter. In the cattle, we are trending lower, with March feeder cattle down 263 at 160.68, while February live cattle are $1.63 lower. And for February lean hogs, 45 cents lower at $85.75. With your markets, I'm Farm and Ranch Director Sarah Heinrich for the News and Views Radio Network from the Enterprise Sales Ag Studio. Enterprise Sales of LA City, your grain handling and storage experts.
Thank you, Sarah. Somebody says the quality of beef in question, local versus USDA. All right. Let's just get to these phone calls right after this.
Wilson here with another News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek
Mighty
Hansen,
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two. Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Katie Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces.
Too tall,
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got.
So today on the MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270. Introduced him at Dakota Magic Casino when he had a concert.
Oh, so obviously you guys are very close friends.
Hung out backstage, Glenn and
You got his phone number?
Yep. Tried to show him how to pick a little faster. The guy could play. I mean, the guy was amazing on the guitar. Lost in everything with Glenn Campbell. All the personal life, all the, that type of stuff. He was an amazing guitar player. Amazing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And, he liked hanging out in Hankinson.
And you taught him everything he knows?
Well, mostly how to hit the high notes. All right, let's get back to the phone lines, and we'll get to Scott, who's been very, very patient. Thank you, Scott.
Morning, Joel.
Morning,
I can give you 3 quick and good reasons that we need to pass mandatory country of labeling. The Jason guy that called is Jason Schmidt. He's the past president of North Dakota Stockmen's and sat on some NCBA boards and pretty much represented what NCBA would say about this issue. Now, one of the things that's happened just in the last months is some cases of mad cow disease showed up in Brazil. I believe it was 4 or 5. All of the cattle groups, including NCBA, USCA, RCAV, Farmers Union, I believe even Farm Bureau, petitioned USDA to shut down imports from Brazil because of this. And of course, there would be a twofold reason for doing that. One would be it would protect consumers against something that could potentially make them sick. But it also protects our USA beef industry because it would protect us from unwarranted price adjustments because of this problem that wasn't our fault. So if it's labeled, consumers could say, well, I've heard about this thing going on in Brazil, and I don't want any part of it. I'm not going to buy Brazilian beef. Well, now the way it is, they have no choice. So again, it protects both health and the economic viability of our U.S. industry. The other thing that I think is important to think about, people talked about the WTO killing country of origin labeling back in 2014 and 15. That case was never actually adjudicated. It's still sitting there in the WTO. It was our Congress at the urging and pushing of NCBA that killed country of origin labeling. One of the points thrown out about it is it would cost Canada, this is just Canada, but it would cost Canada, would lose $6 billion a year if we had country of origin labeling. Well, the fact of the matter is when we had it in 2014 and 15, their market, like ours, was at a record high. It didn't cost them a thing. Their market follows our market. It's the associations and the that are involved with the packers that are so worried about. It isn't really the producers. It's more of an association problem. So those are 3 good reasons to pass country of origin labeling. Besides that, I say it's just a right. We should have the right to label our product.
Well, and I go back to that, Scott, which is if you look at so many other products, they do have the right. They have the right to put on their product where it was raised, where, I don't understand why beef is singled out other than through a trade organization or a trade agreement, but that doesn't make it right. There are certain things that I don't understand about ranchers. Why it's so hard with something to me that's fairly obvious like this to get your organization behind country of origin labeling. I don't get that. If it was
we have organizations that work for cattlemen, ranchers, and we have organizations that work for the packers. You can't represent both. Look at the disparity in pricing of the last 2 or 3 years.
Who works for the packers? Who
NCBA works for the packers. Canadian Cattlemen's Association works for the packers, and anybody that indirectly or is associated with NCBA, so the affiliates like the North are actually working harder for the packers than they are for cattle.
Okay, so let me throw this at you, Scott. If you're saying that the Jason, which I've got about 20 messages here, that it was Jason Schmidt and Schmidt and Jason, if you're listening, feel free to call back. I don't ever do the 2 callers, but I'm about to say something and I don't want you to not have a chance to counter me, which is this. My mother cooked in school for a long time. And, one of the best friends our family has, Joanne Keel, cooked in school for a long, long time. I would be shocked if they bought beef or through IBAN or through somebody else and didn't say that was a better quality beef. And so if Jason would need to see a study of that, some documentation of that the surplus beef or the beef that comes in from USDA isn't as good as locally raised beef here, I guess I was left scratching my head. And then to find out that he was head of the Stockmans, I don't think I'd need much of a study, but I'd be happy to find out, Scott, whether or not one product was better than the other.
Beyond quality, Joel, I would say, with everything I know and everything I've studied, that the USA product is also safer.
Well, think about this: the local product, Scott. When I go and I buy it half a half from some friends, right, and then I have my local butchered. I've mentioned Fairmont all the time. I go over there and I have them butchered up, and boom, we're off and running. If I brown that up, what I've got in the pan versus if I brown up what I bought at the store, it's night and day, right? I mean, it's night and day. And so
your Fairmont locker is a federally inspected plant, the best inspection system in the world, the very best.
Yeah,
absolutely. No question about it.
Right. So, all right. Thank you, Scott. Jason did call back, and I don't like playing unfair like that. If I'm going to say something, not giving him a chance to respond. Jason, thank you for calling back. I raised the question of whether or not you couldn't tell the quality of the beef that came in with USDA versus that local beef. And I just know it from my kitchen, is where I know it. So I want to give you a chance to speak back to that, Jason.
I appreciate that, Joel. Since my name's getting thrown out there, that's fine with me. It doesn't bother me. I'm a strong defender of all of us in the cattle industry. We just have different perspectives. But I sell as many beef as I can off the place myself. Family, friends. I appreciate what the local locker can bring you. But there is such a wide-ranging difference in what we're talking about. You're talking about how much it cooks down, how much loss there is. You can find any amount of product you want in the grocery store or at the local locker, depending on if it's, if we're talking hamburger, 80% lean, 20% fat. Some people are 90-10, some are 70-30. You got to compare apples to apples is what I'm getting at. And the food safety side is paramount. It depends on what them cooks are ordering off the truck. It depends on what they're getting from a local producer, because I've sold to relatives and friends, or even when we do our own sausage making. If we harvest a young animal and we grind that up and mix it with fresh sausage or just make it into hamburger and eat it, you're going to notice a difference because it's from a young animal. But most of us need a market for our cull cows, our bulls, our aged animals. We feed them good. We take care of them good. A lot of them are grass-fed instead of corn-fed. It's going to have a different taste to it. It's going to have a different leanness to it. When I hear them blanket statements out there, and I watched the ads when they were launching this program, it concerns me that it tells consumers that the product we're getting at the grocery store is not safe or healthy or off the food service truck. And that couldn't be farther from the truth.
Jason,
get it local. That's great.
Jason, I got to ask you this.
The rest.
You were president of the North Dakota Stockman in the past, obviously very close to the Stockman's Association. Let me ask you one question. Do you believe that the way ranchers are treated by the meat packers is fair? And do you believe that the meat packers have basically a monopoly where you're the one that's paying the price as beef producers?
I don't think that industry is any different than any other big industry we have in corporate America now. When they have a large supply, they have the leverage, they got the ability to negotiate price in their favor. Next year and the next year, as numbers tighten up, our feed yards, our cattle producers will have a lot more leverage. Were they making a lot of profits last year? year before, you bet they were. But that was a lot of circumstances involved, and we're seeing it in every big business out there. I do think the retailer has taken a large chunk of these profits in the last year, and meat prices rising. If you look up boxed beef prices, they are not nearly what is being charged in the stores anymore. So it's a much bigger subject than a lot of people try to simplify it just to disparage the system we have. I think we need some of all of it.
Okay.
Biden's plan to put $1 billion into, local processing and whatnot, I got to admit, I love that idea. I think there's a lot of merit in it. I don't think we destroy the big ones to do that. I just think we make our system better and fill those gaps.
Jason, thanks for calling back. I appreciate that.
Appreciate it, Joe.
You bet. And thanks for listening to News and Views, where you can get your view out. Let's get to the weather cave and find Too Tall Tom. Tom?
Cold temperature.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Dear
Mighty
Kansas
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two. Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Katie Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces. Too Tall Tom. Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Access, your home.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it.
A coffee with KFGO. Thank you to Vision Ford for that. So we'll be coming to you live from there. The Cruiser, well, that is sponsored by the North Dakota Farmers Union, the North Dakota Association of Rural Electric Cooperatives, Pifers, Auction, Realty and Land Management, Nilson Brand Law, and Broadband Association of North Dakota. We're going to head back to the ranch, get a chance to visit with Sarah Heinrich. And Sarah, I pay attention when you read off the markets, and I hear numbers like 14. And at what point do you, your husband, as a farm family, at what point do you know when to sell that third of crop many sell going into a season?
I think a lot of producers have a lot of numbers in their heads where it's like, if it hits this, then I'm going to let some go. If it hits the $14 mark, then I'm going to let some go. And right now, I know that there's got to be some selling happening. We're seeing really good prices on the board, and we really don't know how long this is going to last. And when we see our rising input costs, we know we're going to need a higher commodity price at the end of the year to help get the bills paid, to say the least. And so if you can lock in a price now and you're going to make money, why not? And so it's always what they say, the base hits are better than the home runs because the home runs are few and far between. And so I definitely think that there's a lot of pricing going on right now. And just trying to make sure that you get some of this crop under contract to make sure that you've got some protection.
What's going on in the market, Sarah?
Right now, soybeans sustaining the biggest losses with March soybeans.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense.
Here with another News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek Hansen, Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that from It Takes Two? Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces.
Too tall,
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Access, your home.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got.
Let's clean up some work here. In fact, let's get to Andrew, who's been waiting on hold. Andrew, you're on News and Views.
Hey, Joel.
Hello.
I was listening to an interview Senator Chuck Grassley gave, and this was a couple months ago, but at that time, he had said that his office was working with U.S. Trade Representative Catherine Tai to get a WTO-compliant country of origin labeling. It's going to take some legal maneuvering for him to accomplish that, but at the time he was feeling that it could be done. So that would solve the tariff issues, and then I think you would get Congress behind it, and that would be one thing. And then as far as a state-owned packing plant, the only thing that independent packing plants have in common is bankruptcy. Not a single one's made it. I can't see why we would make it now. The cattle business has been cyclic. It's been cyclic long before I've been here, and it'll be cyclical after I've been gone. You're going to run into that point where Packer margins are going to go negative again, like they were for the Packers in 2012, 2013. And we were seeing record profits. It's just their end has gotten way deeper than our end now when the prices are good.
So let me ask you this, Andrew. Do you think that the public's diet changes sometimes in relation to what the Packers, because there's no question it isn't going to the ranchers. I mean, the ranchers can have good years. Don't get me wrong. It's not my point. But when it looks at their big profits, it's coming from, and it's definitely at a position where the Packers have it. I've seen the numbers. I know that, and you know that. That being said, do you think the Packers find out every now and then when they're too greedy that people, they can eat pork, they can eat chicken, they can eat fish, those type of things, Andrew, and it catches up to them?
If you're a Packer, you're sitting here. Here's what I would say. If I'm buying cattle for a Packer, I'm saying the commodity that I buy is publicly traded at the CME, live cattle contract, and the product I'm putting out there is bid on in the box beef index. What we're seeing here is one thing that doesn't get mentioned a whole lot is exports from 2020 to 2021 are up almost 30%. It's almost to the point where the rest of the world is valuing our beef at a great demand here. Yeah, you're making money, but the Packers' job is to make beef. The cattleman's job is to raise cattle. I mean, I guess that's how I would explain it.
All right. Thanks for the call, Andrew. I appreciate it. There's a lot of things going on in D.C. that we're seeing play out. The Arizona Democratic Party announced over the weekend that it formally censured Democratic Senator Kyrsten Sinema. Also, what a weekend in the NFL. Bring it on. 1-800-880-5346 on our Laney's News and Views studio line. Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Here with another News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek Hansen, Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two. Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces. Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your home.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out, as people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we
Haney's News and Views studio line at 1-800-880-5346, or our KFGO Text Club is brought to you by the Eye Consultants of North Dakota. So if you punch in 35270 on that short code, you can find that out as well. There's a couple of things that are going on here that when you look at it, you have to kind of take a step back and say, all right, have we reached a turning point? Have we not reached a turning point? Has America's attitude changed? Do certain high-profile people make you change your mind and maybe go back? And it appears that Meatloaf, for example, somebody that I absolutely loved listening to growing up, that he died of COVID. And it was very out front about the fact that if I die, I die, kind of an attitude that he didn't care whether or not he contracted COVID. He didn't think he'd die from it. Well, he did. And so there are people in your life, I have absolutely no doubt that when you look at them, their attitude was they wouldn't get vaccinated and they no longer are part of your life. And so have we just reached a point where we as society are like, look, you did it. It's your call. We'll just take a step back and say that's the way it's going to be. And we have to acknowledge that that's the way it's going to be. That really, when it comes right down to it, we're I don't know how to put this in a very delicate way, but we don't care anymore. I mean, we're going to go about, we're going to live our lives, and maybe this thing works its way through, and maybe the variants get so that the only people that you see paying the ultimate price for it are those that don't get vaccinated. And, of course, some of them won't pay the ultimate price. So then in the end, they're sitting there saying again to everybody who will listen that it's not a problem, that it's not a problem whatsoever. You know, I think I've been personally somewhat in the middle when it comes to all of this. I don't wear a mask. I've been vaccinated. I've been boosted. I don't see in my personal belief the reason that everybody needs to necessarily wear a mask if they themselves aren't in danger. And if you talk to the experts, they want everybody wearing a mask. So I think they lose people when they do that. I think that there should be some reward for getting vaccinated and not being at the same level of risk. Now, for those individuals who are out there saying, well, there are people that have been vaccinated that have died from COVID. Yep. No argument here. On a way, way smaller scale. And if you don't believe the healthcare providers, I don't know who you can believe. If you don't believe the experts when it comes to infectious disease, I don't know who you're going to believe. You're not going to do it because you have now appointed yourself a scientist. You've appointed yourself a physician. You've taken yourself to a place where nobody in the world that has any level of common sense would seek out where your opinion is when it comes to medicine. But you made choices for yourself. And so this pandemic, everybody says, well, just being vaccinated, the vaccinated can carry it forth as well, right? But they ain't going to fill up the hospitals. They're not. And the less it has to attack, the better and the easier it is on society and the quicker that we get opened up. But hey, up here in the Northland, we live such an outdoor existence. And the reason that this hits home with me again was my wife had a false positive on Friday. And I put word out to my staff that they weren't going to see me until past the time that the CDC recommended I be isolated. So I was going home. Then the first thing she found out when she had the false positive was she went to the clinic and took whatever the big test is. I don't know, is that the nose up, the thing, the swab PCR up the nose? Test. There you go. See, you're always there for me. And that came back negative, right? So she had the in-home test and got word out, and then she went to the clinic, and next thing you knew that she was fine. We can go out. We can be in society. I would have had absolutely no problem being locked up for a week. I did. And if you know anything about me, you'd know that I was kicking pebbles, and Abby, we worked together. I was pouting like a little kid. I'm not good at this.
You're not good at staying home, and you're not good at not only staying home from work, but staying home from the bar and talking to all your friends. But you could have been in your ice house.
Socializing. We put it that way. And believe me, I spent a lot of time this weekend in the fish house. But here's the big difference, right? I wouldn't have walked over to my buddy's fish house and been inside a fish house with 10 other guys, BS and having a beer. I just wouldn't have done that. I would have stuck around in my fish house watching the football game and, doing what my mom would get mad at me for doing, which was having a cigar and watch. If somebody walked in there, I could not imagine one of my kids walking in there.
The smell?
The smell. I left the window open. Have you ever had a cigar?
I've tried them.
And?
They're disgusting.
Excuse me. You just got.
I personally don't think they taste good or find the value in them.
I'll have a cigar like once a month, something like that in the summertime. So it isn't even a habit.
No.
I'll be like, oh, man.
It's just kind of the fun of it.
Right, exactly.
Do you like the taste of them?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I like the taste. I like the smell. I like all of it.
Okay.
But.
Not for me.
Yeah. and you know what? That's the way it should be, right?
Yeah.
And I think that if you smoke them as seldom as I do, then you probably don't have a big problem, right?
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, the truth is, going back to what the medical community says, you shouldn't be smoking them at all, right? You shouldn't be smoking them at all. Joel, we care because the unvaccinated take up hospital beds at a far greater rate than responsible people. I think it's unfortunate that the selfish ones are at the front of the line at the hospital. There is something to that, ladies and gentlemen. That they want and they get exactly what everybody's telling them if they get vaccinated they wouldn't need. And I'm going to add one more thing to this. I saw over the weekend some individuals saying that fertility is an issue, that if you've been vaccinated, you can't have a baby. I know there it is the biggest bunch of bunk out there, that it's a bunch of BS. And the reason it's a bunch of BS is because here's the thing. The vaccine has been out there long enough and we're having babies, right? There's babies that are being born. Joel, not everyone has the luxury of staying home for a week. When are we going to admit the pandemic is over? It is now endemic, and we are going to have to live with it, like the flu. See, I think that was kind of like the comments I was making but if you look at, like on the East Coast, the numbers are already going down drastically, but they had a surge of people hospitalized. If you look at what's happening here in the middle of this country, we've always been slow to catch up, right, to where the East Coast is on what the bad news is. And so last week, when I had Dr. Accuse on, the one thing that he pointed out was that they were getting slammed at Sanford. Joel, the tests are inaccurate, all of them. And about 1/3 of North Dakota COVID deaths in 2021 were breakthrough. Less, but not 95% like you have said. How do you know that? I mean, I'm going to ask you, how do you know that? What empowers you to know that? Some conservative talk show host? Because that's not what the physicians say. That's not what the CDC says. That's not what the Food and Drug Administration say. How do you know that? And do you at all feel responsible when you put that out there? I mean, I don't know how you feel empowered to say that, to basically say exactly what the opposite of what science says. You don't want to believe what physicians say. And I can't help that. That's the overall point of that I'm trying to make here. I can't help that. It's you. And if you want to die, go ahead and die. It's at some point, some of us will not be sending flowers or going to the funeral. 237-5948, 1-800-880-5346 to Too Tall Tom Szymanski, and find out exactly what's going on in our weather forecast, Tom.
Sunshine in most areas, the far west and southwest. Some cloud cover still remains, and a little bit of light snow, especially in southwestern.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. We're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek Hansen, Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that
from
game?
It Takes Two?
Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Force.
Too tall,
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Access, your home.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you
mug that looks like it came over on the Mayflower. That mug means a lot to you, right? It's got all those coffee stains in it.
You can have a drink out of it anytime.
I'll never drink out of that mug.
It's like a community mug.
I would put my hands together before I would drink out of it.
I thought you were going to come up with a wisecrack like it's a spittoon or something.
Did we just watch Aaron Rodgers play his last game with the Packers?
I don't know. And I'm not saying that as a cop-out. I don't know. Here's what I'm thinking. Okay, let's say it isn't. Where's he going to go? Where is a team that needs a quarterback, okay, and at the same time has all the weapons needed for him to take that team to the promised land? Can you think of a team off the top of your head? Now, if he goes to the AFC, he's in trouble because he's got Burrow over there. He's got the San Diego quarterback. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
He's got Mahomes.
He's got Mahomes, and he's got Josh Allen in the AFC. So he has to probably stay in the NFC, right? And if he wants to go to the Super Bowl. Wouldn't you say that?
Mm-hmm.
So who would you say, where could he go?
Well, instantly before you just made the argument against the AFC, I thought Denver. And I realized
same division as Mahomes.
Yep. Yeah. No.
And the guy from San Diego. I can't come up with his name.
Here's a weird one for you. You ready?
Yeah.
The Vikings.
Yeah, but they're locked up with Cousins.
Yeah. Boom. See ya.
But would they swallow all that money?
Well, that's the big question.
You think he'll pull a Brett Favre?
I think,
Oh, please.
Brett Favre, 12 men on the field is, that's that close to going to the show.
Okay, 12 men on the field. The Packers took it 2 steps less. 10 men on the field on the last field goal attempt to block.
Yeah. Let me ask you this with the Packers, because I don't get it. They were on such a roll. Why wouldn't you do something to change? Your special team stunk all year long. I mean,
the worst ever.
And that in the end, it bit you in the butt.
I told close confidants, I said there's going to be a special team faux that ends the season in the playoffs. I said that.
Okay.
Guess what happened?
Yep, it's exactly what happened.
3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, I mean, it just. Do you switch special teams coach in the middle of the season? I mean, they stunk.
They were terrible.
Yep.
But still, it comes down to number 12. If you are one of the greatest quarterbacks, he's a modern day Dan Marino. Can't win the big one. He's 0 for his life in the playoffs against San Francisco.
Yeah.
So, he can go around talking to the Bears about how he owns them, but the San Francisco 49ers own him.
Well, the other thing I would add with Rodgers was they let him hang around. Mm-hmm. He was missing some open guys yesterday.
Well, Lazard was open on that one pass play at the end when he threw the big old heave over to Adams, who was double covered. Yeah. I don't know if you saw the replay, but Lazard was wide open in the middle. He makes that pass to him. They can run the clock out. Game over. Let's move on.
In terms of Packer land, Rodgers came out and said no rebuild. He didn't want to be part of a rebuild.
Can't blame him for that.
No, but there are a lot of contracts up. Is this going to be a completely new Packer team next year?
Well, a lot of people haven't said much about Adams. His contract's up. He's a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
So does he go somewhere with Rodgers as a package deal?
Yeah.
It's going to be a whole new look to you. I told somebody, I says, remember the Lynn Dickey, Zeke Bratkowski? That's who I thought number 12 was out there. Lynn Dickey, or was it Zeke Bratkowski who was playing?
Don't bring up Lynn Dickey. That's rude. That guy, in the second half, we had a game won against Lynn Dickey.
I remember that.
And the guy comes back and lights it up in the second half.
He had talent.
Yeah. Okay, one quick story. So I got a buddy, a good friend, great guy. He's with a bunch of Viking fans. They're tailgating at the old Met in a station wagon. Those were the days when tailgate was really tailgating. He, takes it from these guys the whole first half. Second half, that Lynn Dickey game, he gets up in their grill because he should have a right to, right? They rolled him up in the carpet.
No.
Yeah. They rolled him in the carpet. They were tailgating because these were big boys. They put him on the roof, and he went almost all the way to Clearwater before they stopped and let him out.
Oh, my. How cold was it?
Now, this is how the story goes. They let him out. They had his head backwards, so that was good.
Yeah.
They let him out, and he punches one of them, and the guy goes, all right, we had that coming. Now get in there and shut up.
Wow. That's a story.
So, in terms of where this goes, who wins the Super Bowl now? Quick prediction.
I'm going to go with I think the Rams.
I think the Rams are that good right now.
Yeah, and you know what? They haven't beaten the 49ers forever. It's time for them to step up and beat the 49ers.
And they're going to end up playing Kansas City. All right, well, 20 seconds, the NFL overtime rule.
Change it.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's not fair.
It's not. It's just simply not fair. Not fair to the fans, and most importantly, sure wasn't fair to Buffalo. Great conversations today, everybody. Don't forget, we're going to be in Mapleton tomorrow. Thank you to Vision Ford. Stop on out. The coffee, the rolls, that's all on us. We hope to see you there. Good riding with you, folks.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start